Hello, BookTube. This is a book chat about a buddy read that I'm doing with Elena Macrodina. We've been reading Anne McCaffrey, The Dragon Riders of Pern. This is Dragonquest, the final part. And you'll notice I'm a little bundled up here. I live in an 1850s house in Vermont. So it's big, it's drafty, everything's old, and we have a ton of snow outside. And this is the second morning I've woke up to minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a bit nippy out. We certainly aren't the only place in the United States that's going through this right now. And every time I go out to shovel or use a snowblower, I'm just thankful that I'm not trying to push the snow that they're trying to push in places like Erie, Pennsylvania, which almost beyond comprehension how much snow they got. But if you can't handle winters in New England, move to Florida, right? So back to the book. Elena and I, it's our second one of these Dragon Riders of Pern. And it's been a really interesting adventure. And that's the one thing I can say about these books. The pacing is wonderful, and there's never a dull moment. And the pacing is kept under control. It's wrapped in the world building, and so it doesn't gallop away with you. The author is able to use the two. The pacing, the adventure, the plot. Reel it in a little with the world building when necessary to keep your interest, to build a larger intellectual construct that everything takes place in. And there's enough interest, and there's all this going on. So if you hear any yelling, it's my kids are in the other room playing some new video game. I'm not even sure what it is. And they've been housebound for a while too, so I'm not going to ask them to be quiet. They need to get the energy out. So some of the interesting things since the last time I've talked about the Pern books is that they're looking at the red planet where the threads come from, and they're starting to discover some technology that's been left behind on the planet that had been forgotten, in this case a telescope. I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'll pretty much leave it at that, but that causes a political pressure to do something about the opposite planet, which they still know very little, so I'll leave it at that. So it's very interesting, and the characterization keeps right on rolling along, even though more characters are pulled in, and the characters that were previously in have now been rounded out a bit. So but one thing I did want to talk about, and I went and found one of these later volumes, and this is the Renegades of Pern, and it's much later, but in the beginning they do talk about and I'll try to show it to you here, right here. So this is the Dragon Riders of Pern. The author respectfully suggests that the books in the Pern series be read in the order in which they were published, which is, so we have Dragonflight and Dragonquest. Quest is what we're finishing up here. Then next would come The White Dragon, which Elena has, I believe we're going to read that next. So that's the original trilogy, the way I look at it, but that doesn't quite get listed that way here. And if we were to follow that up, it would be Moretta, Dragon Lady of Pern, Dragon's Dawn, Renegades of Pern. Then you would go into Dragon Song, Dragon Singer, and Dragon Drums, which seem to be listed as a trilogy. And then Nerlica's story. And then there's also, at the time this was put out, which was, this is for first edition of '89, there was an Atlas of Pern by Carol Wynne Fonstad, and The Dragon Lover's Guide to Pern by Jody Lynn Nye and Anne McCaffrey. which are like companion pieces. I'll have to see if I can find those if we're going to continue on with the series, because there might be interesting information there. So anyhow, this buddy read has been very fun. I'll link you to Elena's channel down below. She's brought some wonderful insights to the reading. And stay warm. Thank you, BookTube.